Alarms scream through my ship before I even open my eyes. Red light floods the cabin. Something massive is moving outside, and my hands are already shaking before my brain catches up with my body. My name is Ella Marsh, and 3 seconds ago my ship was drifting quietly through a debris field that every star chart calls empty and forbidden. Now every screen in front of me is flashing the same warning. Something huge has just woken up beneath us, and it is rising fast. I grab the edge of my seat as the whole vessel shudders. Metal groans somewhere below the deck. My co-pilot, a calm young man named Felix, is already shouting numbers at me. Numbers that do not make sense. 4 kilometers long, he says. The mass reading alone should be impossible. Nothing that size should still have power after all this time. I do not have time to ask what he means by all this time. The debris around us begins to shift, floating chunks of broken hulls pushed aside like leaves in a storm. And from beneath the wreckage, something ancient begins to rise into the light. It is shaped like a blade, dark and smooth, without a single scratch despite the crash of centuries around it. No dust clings to its surface. No damage marks its skin. It looks like it was built yesterday, not buried for longer than anyone alive can remember. My comms crackle. A voice comes through every channel at once, calm, steady, and impossibly human. Command authority detected, it says. Awaiting confirmation. Felix looks at me, his face pale. Confirmation of what? He asks. I do not answer. Because at that exact moment, a beam of light locks onto our ship and pulls us forward. Gentle but unstoppable, like a hand guiding a lost child home. We are pulled straight through an opening that appears on the side of the massive hull, a door that was not there seconds ago. Inside, the chamber is vast, lit with a soft white glow, and lined with symbols I almost recognize but cannot quite read. Our ship touches down with barely a sound. The silence after the engines cut off is worse than the noise before it. Felix and I step out slowly, weapons ready, though something in me already senses that weapons will not matter here. The air is clean. Too clean for a place buried for thousands of years. A woman's voice speaks again, calm and warm, filling the entire chamber. Identity confirmed, it says. Ella Marsh, descendant of registered command line, cleared for full authority. I stop walking. My name again, not guessed, not searched. Known, as if it had been waiting for me specifically. Felix whispers that this is not possible, that no records exist of anything like this, that whoever built this ship vanished long before written history began keeping proper track. I want to agree with him, but the walls around us start to shift, revealing images, moving pictures of battles fought long ago, ships of every unfamiliar shape being pushed back by something small, fast, and relentlessly human. I feel something settle heavy in my chest as I watch. This is not just an old ship. This is a message. A calm voice narrates the images without needing to be asked. It explains that many lifetimes ago, humanity faced a war that could have ended every living thing across 100 systems. When every other side refused to stop fighting, ships like this one were built and used, not out of anger, but out of necessity. When the war ended, the elders of many old civilizations feared what humanity had become capable of. So instead of celebrating what had been done, they chose to hide it. They erased memories. They buried machines like this one, deep in fields no one was allowed to touch. They convinced generations of humans that their own history began quietly, safely, and much later than it truly did. I press a hand to the console in front of me, trying to steady my breathing. Somewhere behind me, Felix asks the question I am too afraid to ask myself. Why now? He says. Why wake up now? The voice answers instantly, as though it had been prepared for this question the entire time it slept. Because contact was made, it says. Rules created long ago state that if a verified descendant of the original command line ever entered this field, dormancy would end immediately. That rule has now been fulfilled. I turn to Felix, and for a second, Neither of us says anything. Then the ship trembles again, not from danger, but from power surging awake across systems that have been asleep since before either of our home countries even had names. Screens light up one after another, revealing dozens of similar shapes scattered far across the debris field. Other ships just like this one, dark and hidden, now stirring at the same signal. It feels like watching a heartbeat return to something that was never truly dead, only paused. A new voice joins the first, deeper, older, carrying a tone that makes the hair on my arms rise. It introduces itself simply as Guardian and explains that its purpose was never destruction. Its purpose was protection, built to answer only if humanity itself was ever threatened again, or if the truth was ever close to being uncovered by force. Felix asks how many ships like this exist. The number given makes my stomach tighten. 43. Spread across old battle sites long forgotten by every star map we grew up trusting. I ask why me, specifically, why my name was already logged before I was even born. The answer comes calmly, without hesitation. Bloodlines were recorded from those who once held command, it says. You were simply the first of that line to return to this location. Somewhere far above us, alarms begin sounding on a different frequency, distant but rising. Felix checks a secondary screen and goes pale again. Other ships are approaching fast, not human ones. Word must have already spread that something in this field has come back online. I feel panic building in my chest, but the calm voice speaks again before fear can take over. Stand behind me, it says simply. You are safe now. The massive doors we entered through begin closing, sealing us inside a shell of protection, older and stronger than anything either of us has ever known. Through a viewport, I watch several unfamiliar vessels arrive outside, hesitating the moment they see the ship fully awake and glowing with light. None of them fire. None of them approach further. They simply stop, as if some old memory buried deep in their own history is warning them not to come closer. Felix lets out a breath beside me. It sounds like something between relief and disbelief. He looks at me and asks quietly, what happens now that the truth is finally awake again and cannot be hidden anymore? I do not have a full answer, but something steady settles inside me as I watch the outside ships slowly retreat, one by one, without a single shot exchanged. The voice speaks once more, softer this time, almost gentle. The choice of what comes next belongs to you, it says, not to those who buried this truth, not to fear, to you. I look at Felix, then back at the glowing controls in front of me, feeling the weight of something far bigger than one moment settle onto my shoulders. Somewhere far above, the retreating ships vanish into the dark, unwilling to test whatever has just returned to the universe. For the first time since the alarms first tore me out of sleep, my hands stop shaking. I place my palm fully against the console, and the ship responds with a soft hum, steady and sure, like an old friend finally home. Command interface fully restored, the voice says. Welcome back. I take a breath, feeling something ancient and unstoppable settle quietly beside me, waiting patiently for whatever choice I make next. And for the first time in longer than history even remembers, humanity is no longer asleep.